Go through how to do some double exposure effects in Adobe Premiere. So I already have Adobe Premiere open here, and I have a couple things going, so I can kind of show you what we're trying to do here, and I have a couple different examples for you. So these are not rendered yet, but basically what we're doing is taking a couple different kinds of video clips and trying to layer them up and create some interesting just compositing, and layering a couple different video clips and changing blend modes, as well as maybe masking, and as well as adding some effects on there to get different looks too. So you can see, unfortunately, the look of this this video is really interesting. However, Premiere sometimes does have a problem handling it, so you're gonna probably have to render a lot. But you can see the preview here is looking pretty cool. So how do we do this? All right, what we're gonna do here is I'm gonna go ahead and pull in a new clip. So I've already pre-selected this clip of a person just sitting kind of by a waterfront, and like right away we can just get some really easy simple effects going. So I'm gonna bring in something else. I'll bring in just this fire and import that in there, and what I'm gonna do is just show you how to do a little bit of blend mode changes. So I'm gonna click on that top video clip. It is important to note that you're playing around with layering here, so the top layer is going to be affected by the bottom layer. So I clicked on that top layer. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go up here and first just play around with opacity, right? So if I lower that opacity, right away I'm getting a pretty interesting effect just by those two video clips being, together. So I could play that. Again, it may have some issues just kind of rendering, but that already looks really cool. So just, the most simple thing, and this is something you can do in Adobe Rush. So, but what you can't do in Adobe Rush is play with blend modes. So I'm going to go ahead and move the opacity back up, and I'm gonna start playing around with some of these and see what these do. All right, so that right there, that was just my multiply blend mode and made that piece look really awesome. Okay, it looks post-apocalyptic, like really cool. So a really simple drop down, and we're already getting some kind of cool stuff. So you can play around here, see what works, see what looks better or different. You can also mask out some of these things. So say like I ended up going with let's say hard light, but I don't want this to affect the person. I could go in maybe with my pen tool and just select out an area that and I'm not going to do a really good job here, but with time, but I could go around here and just say, all right, oops. And now I'm not showing, that background at all in that one spot. Or I could go in here and I could feather this to kind of blend it in. All right. I could invert the mask. So if I only wanted the fire to be in there, or I'm sorry, the girl to not be visible there. So there's all kinds of different things you can do with these masks as well. So from here, just 2 layers, looking pretty interesting, I think. And a couple things you can play around with. I'm only doing 2. I could bring in another one and just pile that up on top. Just this video, I think of just traffic is what this one is. And so I could go in, to that one. I'm like, okay, you know what? I'm only gonna have that show maybe at the top of my screen. When you're doing this pen tool and you're creating these masks, you want to just make sure that you're staying inside. You can't go outside that like the visibility window there. So, and you can always go back and remove these and push them up into the outside. So, and then again, maybe go around and play around with masking and soften up that. Oops. And then also, I can play with opacity. I could go into this layer and change that. So just again, different ways you can composite using just layering, blend modes, and opacity. So all right, now another little trick. I'm just going to go ahead and kind of remove these. I'm going to re-bring in that clip of the girl sitting there. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go to my effects. So I'm going to click on my effects tab up at the top, and I'm going to go and I'm going to look up threshold. And in threshold, I'm going to go and drop down that onto the clip. And what you're going to see is this is going to turn everything into black and white. Okay, I can go over to my effect controls and let's go into, let's see, threshold. I'm going to change my level. Right now I can change this, right? So what's going to happen is we're going to fill anything that's black in this image with video. So the other part will not have any video in that portion of it. So how I'm going to do that is I'm going to take this flame, I'm going to bring this in, put it underneath. And on that top layer now, with that one being black, just the image of the person, I'm going to go and change that to screen. What you're going to see is then now that fire is only populating the space inside that black. So anything can be done like this. It just obviously you kind of need to be selective about what clips you're using, and also what maybe if you're filming, how you're filming it. If you really know you want to film a person and have that being filled, or buildings, then you need to make sure that that could be edited like this, where that's going to be actually the thing that's being filled. So and there's other ways to mess with this. You could go into curves to change lights and darks, but threshold's a good place to start here. And then again, we can go back and I could place this up top, and I can play with some blend modes. And oops, that one did not work. Oh, that one is working actually. I can see it slightly. There we go. So just a different look to it. So again, just playing around, seeing what is possible and what you can do in Premiere. And really the possibilities are endless. You can kind of keep going and playing around with what's going on here, and just have some fun. And actually